Ukraine celebrates its independence every year on August 24th. This year marks the 31st anniversary of that day. Usually, such occasions are a cause for jubilation and celebration, just as they are on national days of nations worldwide. This year, however, the Ukrainian people are worried about more attacks and tragedies. It has been 6 months since Russia invaded, and the results have been death and destruction. War crimes, massacres, and random shootings in schools and hospitals have taken place. About 10 million people have been displaced from their homes, and cynical attacks on wheat fields and the militarization of grain exports have been witnessed. At least 22 people were killed when a missile hit a train stop in eastern Ukraine, confirming the worst fear of Ukrainian officials. This video is going to be about Ukraine's 31st Independence Day. Is it merely a European war? This is not just a European war, nor in terms of the concept involved, nor its tangible repercussions. There would be less security for everyone if larger countries could invade smaller ones at will, a clear violation of the idea of non-use of force. This war is creating tremendous spillover effects around the planet. Particularly noticeable is the dramatic increase in the cost of essentials like electricity and groceries. And as usual, the least equipped to cope are the ones facing the most significant load. The EU is on behalf of the Ukrainians right from the beginning of the war. For the first time, they have sponsored the supply of military assistance to a nation under assault to allow Ukraine to fight. Also gave humanitarian relief and macro-financial support to keep the Ukrainian state solvent. 6 months into the war, Russia has taken 20% of Ukrainian territory and a substantial section of its Black Sea coastline. However, the fight has now definitely entered a new stage. Also, with the help of Western military aid, Ukraine has stopped the Russian onslaught and lately liberated certain territories, most notably in the south of the nation around Kherson. Several attacks on weapon depots and sites deep within Russian illegally held territory have been successful. Undoubtedly, these assaults have a significant psychological effect on Russia, while simultaneously strengthening Ukrainian morale. As President Zelensky stated at the Crimea Forum, the Ukrainian people are more motivated than ever to reclaim all of their country's territory. And let's be clear, Ukraine needs and deserves the world's continuous backing as it works toward that end. It's vital to keep in mind on this day that Russia's aggression against Ukraine didn't begin on February 24th, but rather with the illegitimate takeover of the Crimean Peninsula in 2014. Attack by Russian missiles. Ukraine celebrated its National Day under severe bombardment with reports of 22 civilian deaths and the destruction of a passenger train in the country's east. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had warned of the potential of repugnant Russian provocations ahead of the 31st anniversary of Ukraine's freedom from Moscow-dominated Soviet control, and public celebrations were cancelled. On the same day as the anniversary, it had been 6 months since Russian forces attacked Ukraine, setting off Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. Rockets hit a train on the town of Chaplin, around 145 kilometers west of Russian-occupied Donetsk in Russian Ukraine, Zelensky said in a video presentation to the United Nations Security Council. Russian military action in Chaplin, Ukraine, destroying a house. Chaplin is our pain today. As of this moment, there are 22 dead. In an evening video message, Zelensky stated that Ukraine would hold Russia accountable for all of its actions. Kyrylo Tymoshenko, a close associate of Zelensky's, later claimed that Russian soldiers had twice shelled Chaplin. In the first incident, a young kid was murdered when a missile struck his home, and in the second attack, 21 people were killed when rockets crashed the railway station and burned down 5 cars, he added in a statement. A statement from the Russian Ministry of Defense was not immediately forthcoming. Russian officials have repeatedly denied any intention to harm civilians. Russia's missile strike on a train station full of civilians in Ukraine fits a pattern of atrocities. We will continue with partners from around the world to stand with Ukraine and seek accountability for Russian officials, US State Department spokesperson Antony Blinken tweeted. According to Ukraine's presidential advisor Oleksiy Arestovich, Russia's military didn't bother with Kyiv on holiday, but shelled frontline towns like Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Nikopol, and Dnipro. Mikhailo Podolyak, another presidential aide, said, "Massive shelling of Ukraine on Independence Day. After 31 years of freedom, a war." Ukrainians voted decisively in favour of independence from the Soviet Union in a referendum held in December 1991, prompting the country's leaders to declare independence from Moscow in August 1991. Despite cancelling public holidays on August 24th, many Ukrainians nevertheless observed the day by donning traditional embroidered shirts. Kyiv's capital city was subject to at least 7 air raid siren blasts during the day, but fortunately no strikes occurred there. The couple afterward attended a liturgy in Kyiv's St. Sophia Cathedral with religious leaders and laid flowers at a memorial to slain troops. Strikes on civilian and military targets in Ukraine. Authorities in the area said that Ukrainian forces in the Vinnytsia region shot down a Russian drone and that other Russian missiles landed in the Khmelnytsky region, west of Kyiv and hundreds of kilometers from the front lines. No injuries or property damage were claimed, and Reuters could not confirm the reports. The use of civilian targets by Russian forces had been denied numerous times. At a conference in Uzbekistan, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu stated that Moscow had purposefully slowed down what it calls its special military operation in Ukraine to prevent civilian casualties. Russian Ambassador Vasily Nebenzia reaffirmed Moscow's justification for its activities in Ukraine during a UN Security Council meeting on Wednesday, claiming that a special operation was required to denazify and demilitarize the nation to eliminate clear security dangers to Russia. Ukraine and the West have rejected Moscow's position as an empty justification for an unjustified war of invasion. International Comradeship. On Wednesday, US President Joe Biden reiterated the US's commitment to Ukraine by announcing a new $2.98 billion investment in security services. According to an investment from Biden, this will allow Ukraine to acquire air defense systems, artillery systems and munitions, counter unmanned aerial systems and radars to ensure it can continue to defend itself over the long term. Today is not only a celebration of the past, but a resounding affirmation that Ukraine proudly remains and will remain a sovereign and independent nation, Biden stated, adding that the US looks forward to continuing to celebrate Ukraine as a democratic, independent, sovereign and prosperous state for decades to come. The Vampire counter-drone system, which employs tiny missiles essentially to blast missiles out the sky, is part of the Security Assistance Package, Department of Defense Secretary for Policy Dr. Colin Kahl said to journalists. On Wednesday, global leaders joined Biden in vowing ongoing support for Ukraine. During his tour, Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, met Zelensky. He declared that Ukraine can and will win the conflict with Russia while announcing a $66 million aid package. Foreign leaders in Kyiv included João Gomes Cravinho, the Foreign Minister of Portugal. During an event in Brussels attended by Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, a huge Ukrainian flag was unfurled on Grand Place. Charles Michel, the head of the European Council, wrote on Twitter on Wednesday, "Your future is our common future, and it's why we want to support you as much as we can to protect and defend your independence, your sovereignty, and your territorial integrity. We are with you." Russia's progress has reduced. Following the early weeks of the war, when its troops were driven from Kyiv, Russia has gained little gains in Ukraine. The chief of Ukraine's military intelligence, Kyrylo Budanov, claimed that Moscow's exhausted and its troops' morale and physical exhaustion were to blame for the slowdown in Russia's attack. Large swaths of the eastern Donbass region's provinces of Luhansk and Donetsk, as well as the Black Sea and Sea of Azov beaches, have been taken over by Russian soldiers. Thousands of civilians have died in the conflict, which has also driven more than a third of Ukraine's 41 million residents from their homes, destroyed towns, and rocketed the world economy by leading to shortages of basic food staples and an increase in energy costs. That's all there is for today. Leave us a comment with your thoughts on Ukraine's 31st Independence Day. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the video, and click the notification bell to never miss our videos. Stay tuned.